Hey, Michelle, what's shaking?
Hey, Lindsay, not too much. How are you?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great. What are we talking about today for our listeners?
Well, this is going to be a fun one. So, recently we did an episode where we were talking about the expression your neck of the woods. I believe it was 1900. Guys, go listen to that one.
Yes.
And you said I think it was because we were talking about like if you say I'm where you live or like
Right,
I'm
right, right,
or something.
right. Right. We were talking about, oh, I'm going to be in your neighborhood. And I said, that sounds
Yeah.
a little stalkery.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you were saying, and rightfully so, that that would be great for a future episode. So I wanted to just snatch it up right away because why wait?
Oh, this is great. This is so native and natural. And I have a feeling our listeners have never learned this. This is not going to be taught in any textbook, guys. So listen in today. This is good stuff.
Absolutely. So, I mean, what does that mean to say something sounds stalkery?
Yeah, so what we're doing here is we're taking the word and then we're adding Y, which sounds like E, right?
Right.
So we're saying stalkery. If you guys have the transcripts on the iOS or Android app, you'll see this. It means something is like a stalker or someone is like a stalker, stalkery.
What is a stalker? Because I realized, yeah.
God. A stalker is, yeah, someone who, well, often men following women, to be honest. It's usually how it happens. Just
Yeah.
someone, who crosses boundaries and in a creepy way, in a way that feels like
Right.
dangerous to the woman, follows her and keeps an eye on her. And sometimes she has to get a restraining order in that case, right? That kind of thing.
Right. Or
Yeah.
there's sometimes it happens there's celebrity stalkers
Oh,
like
yeah.
right.
Okay.
So might be yeah, not a gender specific like
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's not always men to women or women to men. It's just yeah, if someone's like it's like usually obsessive
Obsessive. Yeah. Yeah.
and I mean, it's sometimes we could do a whole episode on this word, but like sometimes we use it like more as a joke, and sometimes it's serious, and so
It
anyway.
kind of makes me think a little bit of those, those tours you take in Hollywood, like the Hollywood Hills tours. I feel a
Mhm.
little weird sometimes. I've been on that
Right.
tour once or twice because you're literally in a van. Luckily, you're visiting like 25 different Hollywood stars' homes, so it's not
Right.
just one person, which would be
Right.
weird. But you're in a van, sitting out there, looking at the front of their house. It's weird. It's
Right.
strange.
Right. It's true. It's true. So, anyway, but yeah, you could have just said, "Oh, that sounds like a stalker," or "That sounds like something like a stalker, like a stalker would say," right? But you
Yes.
said stalkery. So why didn't you just say like, "Oh, that sounds like a stalker," right?
Oh, because it's more fun. It's fun. What
Yeah.
we're using art. We're creating art here with our language, guys. We're inventing a word. I mean, this is a word. I've heard people say it, but in that instance, I kind of invented it, right? A little
Right.
bit. Yeah. We're having
Right.
fun with
Right.
language. Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly, exactly. So this is just a very common way to express yourself with some personality. And Lindsay, like you said, it's an art.
Yeah.
So but what does it convey
Yeah.
if you do that E? Like,
It conveys that I'm not afraid to break the rules, right? Because this is not
right,
really something you're going to find in a grammar textbook as a rule, guys, right? This is not
right,
like conventional English grammar. This is slang, urban dictionary type stuff, I guess.
right.
It conveys that I've got a great noun. And instead of finding an adjective, a totally different word, I'm going to put a Y at the end because I
Right.
want to use that noun to make it an adjective.
Right. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. Yeah,
And it's fun. Like and it made me laugh, I think, in the episode,
it
right?
did.
Like
Yeah,
it was kind of humorous that you said
yeah,
stalkery.
yeah. It's fun. So I think it's fun because it's spontaneous. Like that
Right.
couldn't have been in really a
Right.
script. It was something personal to me that I came up with.
Right.
Right. That's fun.
Right.
That's fun.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. Okay, so guys, so the format is noun plus Y, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
stalker, E.
E, stalker, E. Right?
Stalker.
And be careful because if you're seeing this in writing, you might think it's stalker I because often the Y is right, isn't it? Yeah. Sometimes it could
Yeah.
be, but it's
Mhm.
E. So just be careful there, guys. Right? Yeah.
Right. So, really, so it really kind of changes it
To
to
an
an
adjective.
adjective, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, we're gonna talk more about this today. We're more of like this, like the idea of like a person or a thing into an adjective. So
Mhm.
let's do nouns into adjectives now with e. So let's do some examples.
Okay, here we go. Oh, wow. Look at you. You're so parenty. You're so responsible.
Right? So you're just like being funny there, parenting, right?
Yeah, and again, it's fun because maybe you and I are like meeting for lunch and you have your two kids and the all the stroller, all the things that you
Yeah,
have as a
yeah,
mom, you
yeah.
know now, right,
Yeah.
Michelle? And there's no better word in that moment than just you're so parenty, right?
Right.
It's fun.
Right,
Like I'm
right,
just
right.
embracing you and just putting a
Right.
word on it, right? Yeah.
Right. It's fun. It's fun. Here's another one. She gives off very teachery vibes, so I'm not surprised she's a teacher.
There really are people like this, especially for teachers that teach younger kids. There's a certain like tone of voice that I'm often like, oh, I'm not surprised that person's a teacher, right? They just
Right.
have a certain nature to them, playful, sweet. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, right, right. Exactly. All right.
Hmm.
Let's do. What's another one, Lindsay?
Okay. It was a good show. It was kind of high school musically, right? So I'm saying, let me say that again. It was a good show. It was kind of high school musically. Interesting. That one, wow.
Uh,
Musically. Again, spontaneous. You can put this on the end of any noun, literally. There's
right,
no rules here.
right,
Um,
right.
yeah. So,
Yeah. So it's just like there. It's like saying maybe, oh, like it was good, but maybe it was like very, maybe like, I mean, High School Musicals can be very good.
oh, okay. I
So,
didn't know if you were referring to a particular
the
movie.
actual.
Isn't
Oh
there
yeah,
a
then
movie
there's High
called?
School. Yes, there is High School
Okay.
Musical, right?
Okay. Okay, good.
I was
And that
thinking, I don't know. Well, either one.
that could work too, right? So if I was
Exactly.
saying this seemed like that movie, like it reminded me of that movie, I could say it
Mm.
was very High School Musically.
Right, right, right. That's tough to say. Yeah, I wrote that.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say, yeah.
Musically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so right, we talked about parenty and then teachery, so we kind of went through these. Sometimes we use this to clue at something else, but not exactly say it, to hint at something else. That's what I should say, right? Like,
Mm.
oh, like, oh, it's very High School Musically, right? Like
Ah.
maybe you have this feeling like that. I mean, it's funny. I shouldn't like I was in High School Musical, so but like just I don't know, maybe that's a way to say it's like very maybe a little amateur,
Right.
like something like that. I feel bad insulting High School Musical.
Yeah, no. Like for example, I'm thinking about banana bread because I bought this great loaf of bread at Whole Foods last week. It's so good. It's got dates and nuts in it. But
Oh.
maybe someone invites you to their house. They're so excited they made their signature banana bread. But let's say
Yeah.
they put too many bananas in their banana bread, and you go and say, "Oh, it's good. It's really banana-y, right?" It's
Yeah. That's a perfect example. That's a perfect example.
right. So, it doesn't mean you're trying to offend them or even tell them that there's too many bananas. You're just saying there's a lot of bananas in here. And maybe they're trying
Right.
to do it that way. I mean, that sounds pretty good
Right.
to me, but
Right, right, right. Exactly.
all right, I love it. So, what else, Michelle? This is fun. This is so fun.
Yeah. I mean, you can also say like something is like alcohol-y, right? Like
Yeah.
to be honest, I don't love the taste of alcohol, right?
Right,
So I
right.
might say like if I'm ordering a drink, and I have in the past said something like, "Oh, does it taste very like alcohol-y?" Like that
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, that would be
thing.
a common one that I'm sure bartenders get a lot, right? Don't you think?
Right.
I would think so.
Right. Like it's just
Yeah.
like more fun, kind of cutesy than saying like, "Oh, does it have a strong alcohol taste?"
Right,
Right?
or like
Like
what's the alcohol content or what's the
yeah, right.
proportion
It's like,
of rum to
"Oh, is
this
it
to that.
very
Right.
alcohol-y?" Right? Like
Yeah, I wonder if there would ever be a time, Michelle, that it would sound weird to add e. I mean, I think the musically was hard to say. I would say that, like the
that's
High School
what yeah.
Musical. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so even though that was my example, sorry, but but it's true. It was kind of hard to say. I think sometimes if you have like a word that already ends with e, it might be
Oh
a little
yeah.
awkward,
Oh gosh,
right?
yes.
Like oh, he's very attorney e. Like
Right. No,
or
that's
like she's a he's very secretary y.
even though I have heard people do this and I've
Yeah,
done it, it's just hard to say.
it's
You have to
harder.
make sure the
Yeah,
person knows exactly what you're saying and what you're
right.
going for. right?
Right,
So
right,
I would
right.
agree with that. Yeah. So good.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's do a role play with with another one.
All right, here we go.
Well,
So, well, here we're talking about people that we met at a party. So here we go. Oh, Pete was really nice.
really? I thought he was a little librarian-y.
What's that supposed to mean?
I don't know, Lindsay. I don't know. Maybe a little dry.
Well, my mom is a librarian.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
That's a but librarians are cool now, right? It's cool. It's
That's
kind of
true.
nerdy. Nerds are cool. I mean, things have changed,
Yeah.
Michelle. Things have changed.
Exactly, exactly. So I shouldn't make fun of that.
So you said, I said Pete was really nice, and you said, really? I thought he was a little librarian-y, right?
Yeah.
Librarian-y. Yeah.
Right. So I'm hinting here, like I didn't want to say what I thought, but then you went for it because you're like, well, what do you mean? Like, what's that?
Yeah.
So I was kind of then like, oh, I don't know. Like, I was hoping you would, like, you did understand what I was saying, and that's why you kind of got a little defensive, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and what you're doing here is you're kind of trying to mask what you really think, which is maybe you think he's kind of boring or like kind
Right.
of quiet or just not dynamic or something, right? So you're kind of using
Right.
this E word to have fun and describe something that you don't want to say directly.
Exactly. I'm hinting at something, but you picked right up on it and you did not like it.
I'm pretty quick,
And
Michelle.
you are. And I mean, so that, but like, I wanted to do that example not to insult librarians, guys. Librarians are very cool
Yes.
and very important. But I wanted to do that to show you that, like, sometimes this can be like used to stereotype. And
Mm.
you know, so in that kind of context, you do want to be careful because then you can end up putting your foot in your mouth, which what does that mean, Lindsay?
Oh my gosh, yes. Do really regret what you've just said because then my mom's a librarian, right? It turns out, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
you have to be careful what you say and how you kind
Right.
of can, yeah. So be careful with this. Have fun with it, but just be
Have fun.
careful. Be careful.
Right,
Don't say
right, right,
anything
right. If you
hurtful. Yeah.
right, exactly. Like so here that was kind of like offensive things to say about
Yeah.
librarians that I do
Yeah.
believe in real life, but just for the example, but yeah. And you caught me and then I realized like, "Oh no. I
Yeah,
should
yeah.
not have said that."
I love it. So good. I think this is a great episode. It's how you guys can be creative with your language and not have to say the straightforward words that I think as human beings, for some
Right.
reason, we just don't want to say because they don't help connection, right?
That's true. Yeah, exactly, exactly. No, this was fun. This was a great idea, Lindsay. I'm glad that like you said stalkery in the other episode. But yeah, guys, try this out. I mean, this is one to have fun with, to be playful with. We gave you
Yes.
some like actual, like real concrete examples that you can use, right? That like, try going to if you're old enough and you are ordering a drink and ask, oh, is it very alcohol-y, right? Like
Yeah,
that's like
totally
one that
normal.
you can definitely use.
Yes.
And then other ones, try and see how this could like kind of apply to the conversations you have instead of saying, oh, does this have a lot of alcohol in it, right? Just like different
Hmm.
examples of, try and think it over in your head of
Yes.
like, is there a moment when I could try this out? What would I do?
I love that idea. And also, now that you guys know that native speakers create this weird way of inventing words, you're going to hear this. And whereas before listening to today's episode, you may have just totally misunderstood what they were saying or just gotten
Right.
lost and a little bit
Yes.
distressed. Now you're going to get it. And you're going to, I know what you're doing, right? You're making up a fun little adjective.
Right, right. So
Why?
keep your ears open for that one. And also I'm really curious, let us know, are there, is there something similar in your first language or another language
Mhm.
that you speak where these playful things kind of happen where you hint at something by making up a word, right?
Yes, I'm having a lot of fun right now, Michelle, prepping for my trip to Argentina. We are
All
recording this in
right.
advance, but I'm going to Argentina in a week and a half and I'm learning the Argentine slang, right? It is so
Oh,
fun. And just the rhythm, the tone of voice, the accent is so unique and beautiful. I'm super excited. So I'll come back with some
that's great.
stories for sure.
That's great. Can't wait. All right, Lindsay. Well, thanks for this idea.
All right. Thanks for hanging out, Michelle. I'll talk to you very soon. Have a good
All
one.
right. All right, you
Bye.
too.